right, so we're on the road, 8 o'clock in the morning. 234 miles to Wauklela Falls Trailhead. We'll see what the weather brings. You know, it's Oregon, and so it says it's going to rain. That could mean a light drizzle. It could mean it's just cloudy, or it could mean torrential downpours. It's Oregon, so we're going to see what we see when we see it. But first trip of 2026, not bad. And I've got trips scheduled for pretty much every month this year, which is a huge improvement. We'll see what happens. You know, you take it as it comes. They're not all going to be great trips, but some of them will be, and that's the point. And the one thing that I will say is that if you're just sitting at home, you're definitely not going to get anything. So with no expectations, but hoping for the best, off we go. So this is the first time I've ever been up here, and it's been a cloudy day. It's pretty amazing. I brought my backpack, which I'll probably take to hike up Wauklela Falls. But for this kind of a situation, I just want to grab a couple of lenses and a camera and bring it with me real quick. I mean, the van's right behind me, right behind you. And, I'm walking 30 feet. I don't need the whole backpack. So that's what I'm doing. Let's photograph. So I photographed here a few times, but never in these kinds of conditions. This is wonderful. An overcast day here is a very rare thing. The tendency when I photographed here before was to go really wide, and now I'm concentrating more on details, more not going as wide, which I'm kind of seeing the compositions a little bit differently, which is kind of cool. So very interesting place, really beautiful light today. Best light I've ever seen here, particularly for black and white. And I pretty much have the place to myself, but then again, it is January 3rd. And normally it'd be freezing here. It's like 40 degrees, which isn't bad at all. So here's some of the images from Stonehenge and the things I shot. Raw. There's the raw shot. There's the in-camera JPEG. Now with Fuji, I would have some other things going on here. I would already have some toning in, and I would have some different filtration. But the Sony just gives you what it gives you. This is kind of a cool shot. This is how I edit my photographs, whether they're the Fujis are a little less work, but the Sonys are what they are. I'll usually come in here, I'll hit DxO Smart Lighting, see what that does, selective tones, always boost the midtones a bit,
Shadows maybe a hair. Highlights are good. Maybe the blacks a little bit. Well, for printing I would do that, but for the screen I won't. Contrast. Nah. Then I'm always going to do a split toning. And split toning is available in DxO PhotoLab 9 with the film pack. So sepia, definitely sepia here. Intensity 12. This balance goes up to 70. Don't want gold, I want selenium, and I want that about 12. Very subtle toning. And this is how I learned to do this when I did the A/B with the film images. So other than that, this is the JPEG. You know what? That's kind of there. If anything, the Sonys are too sharp. No idea what's going on down there. Hope it doesn't translate. If anything, the Sonys are too sharp. The JPEGs are sharp. So I don't need to add any of this. And then we will add some grain. And with the film pack, it's awesome because I get to add grain that looks just like Tri-X. And we'll use medium format. And that's it. That is it. And that grain looks nice. So there it is. That's how I post-process my images. What does that take? 30 seconds? And that honestly, that's what I do for the most of them. This up here is looking a little dark, so I'm going to bring up the blacks just a hair. There we go. Might bring down the shadows. So groovy. All right, so that's that. Then I'm going to come over here, right-click on the file. I'm going to go blue on that. I'll give it 3 stars just so I know. Well, good morning, everybody. Here at Multnomah Falls. And let's leave that open. And I'm gonna transfer some camera gear into a smaller bag, I think. I'll probably bring the big backpack. But the rain just stopped, and it's looking like it's gonna be a beautiful, you can't see me at all. But if I pan you over here, maybe you can see the kiosk, but there's the falls in the background. So it's about 7:30 in the morning this time of year. That's about the time the sun comes up. So the best plans don't always work out. And so Multnomah Falls Lodge, which the last time I was there a couple of years ago was about as good as Denny's, and for $40. Didn't work out today because they're only doing the Sunday brunch for like $40 each, and it's not the money so much. It's that there's a lot of food on there I can't eat. So Plan B is IKEA breakfast, which is where we're at. We're waiting for them to open. They open in about 10 minutes, and you know, quite honestly, the food at IKEA was better than Multnomah Falls Lodge last time anyway. And the funny part was the lady behind the counter at Multnomah Falls Lodge, when we were talking to her, she's pretty surly. So it is what it is. Well, the flights are leaving out of Portland. Pretty cool. Haven't seen that in a while. And must be 8 o'clock in the morning, 9 o'clock in the morning, which it is. So we got Rockstar parking at IKEA. You don't get that too often. Pretty cool. And Plan B. which is most of my life spent in Plan B. So also, look at the weather. Like, it was supposed to rain like hell, and it was raining earlier, but look at this now. So I don't know. I think I'm going to get some cloudy photography and not with intermittent sun. So we'll see what we can get. I have a plan for photography on the way home. Ever since I made it into the Gorge area, all my photography plans have been scuttled. And so I'm just making do with what I can do to do what I can. All right, here we go. So I got a window seat here at IKEA, and there's my breakfast. So much for my diet. So Sunday morning is definitely the time to come to IKEA. There's like nobody here, and it's wonderful. Even though yesterday afternoon the place was a zoo. All right, so we made it to La Tourelle Falls, the Columbia River Gorge. This is on the way home. And this is the parking lot of La Tourelle Falls. And everybody was heading to there's like an upstairs and a downstairs. You go up the stairs, you get a view of the falls, but it's kind of a single view. And if you hike the trail down a short ways, which is what we did, or I should say I did. So if you go to your left there where those people were going, that's going up the stairs to the view of the falls. And if you come around this way, this will take you down to the falls. And there's a cool bridge down there if you go all the way down there. But when it's really running, you're going to get wet because the spray from the falls is pretty zippy. What's really interesting is this falls would be gorgeous. I mean, it is gorgeous. It's a beautiful falls. If this was the only falls around, it would be very crowded. It'd be very busy, more crowded than it is, because it's very pretty. But it's upstaged by Multnomah Falls and Horsetail Falls. And so, it's like just another falls in the gorge, which is, everything is relative. So there's some people coming up from the trail. The trail itself is quite beautiful as well. And you don't have to go too far. It's paved. I wouldn't say it's like, handicapped access, but because it's a little on the steep side, but I don't know. But it's a pretty falls. It's a pretty hike. It's a pretty trail. All the trails in the gorge are really gorgeous. I didn't go too far. You don't have to. You get a nice view halfway down this path. Right about here is a nice view of the falls. There's some twigs in the way, so you got to be careful with that. I guess I could have went a little closer. Get those branches and sticks out of the way, but had to use a tripod for this because I'm going to put on a 4-stop neutral density filter so that I can get like a 1 second or 2 second exposure to blur the water in the falls. And that's what I'm doing here. And there's a 4-stop neutral density filter with an adapter ring. It's a 77 millimeter filter with a 67 to 77 adapter ring. I like the screw-on filters. I don't drop them when they're on, and you can tighten them down and make them secure. I mean, the people who have those magnetic filters, first of all, they're expensive, and second of all, they're always dropping them and breaking them. So, obviously, it's a good idea to be a manufacturer and seller of magnetic filters. Maybe that's why they give them away to everybody. I know Case was really weird. They contacted me and they said, Case said, would you be interested in using our magnetic filters and talking about them? And I said, well, I'm not too sure about that. I'm not really sure I use them. And then they wrote me back, and I said, but maybe. And then they wrote me back, and they said, your channel's not big enough. We're not sending them to you. And I was like, really? Why did you contacted me? I didn't contact you. So Case needs to get its act together. But honestly, I think they're a big waste of money. So I probably wouldn't have wanted them to send them to me anyway. And so here's with a 4-stop neutral density filter, and the exposure is about half a second, you know. I will say that Sony screen is cool, because you think of it, it's only as a flip out, but it's actually, it tilts also. So that's kind of groovy. But you know, with the X-T5, it's does the same thing anyway, and it's less complicated. Probably less fragile too. So yeah, 6 of one, half dozen of another. And there it is. Okay, so that was the trip that was, and it was a great trip. I had a lot of fun, and I got some interesting photographs, I hope. I know they print okay, and we'll see, you know. So I had to change plans, though. Waclella Falls Trail was closed. Not sure why. People were still hiking on it. How weird. And then Monoma Falls Lodge was not serving the food I wanted, but I had a great breakfast that was really bad for me at IKEA. But anyway, you know, you make do. And so it was a lot of fun. Had a really good time. I'd like to thank Richard and Nathaniel, who signed up on my Patreon channel as collectors of the photographic arts. And with that, you get a signed original print made to the highest standards that I can make. It looks something like this. Now, I'm not sure that it's going to be that exact photograph. I'm still working out the details for this year on that, but it'll be a custom window mount, dry mounted on archival museum mat board, signed on the back, stamped, etc. And so in a clear plastic bag, and I'll ship that out in February. So looking forward to that. Another benefit of being a collector of the photographic arts or a student of the photographic arts level member on my Patreon channel is that you can always send me some photographs if you'd like me to take a look at them and critique them for you. It's a very it's a learning experience. It's a good way to figure out, you know, if you're not sure exactly what's going wrong or whatever, just get a second opinion kind of a thing. And I know that's how I learned when I apprenticed to be a wedding photographer. But back in the horse and buggy days, you know, we had to shoot film, have the film processed, and then sit down and look at the prints. So with the computer, we can do it all virtually, which is really cool. And you send me some photographs, I'll make a video, put it up on Patreon, etc. That kind of a thing. So there it is. Anyway, having a great time with Patreon and enjoying 2026 so far. The Sonys were what they were. I wasn't too impressed, and I realized I didn't. It happens every time I get them out in the field. I always realize like I didn't go anywhere. In a way, I like the Fujis a lot better. So there is that. There's nothing wrong with the Sonys. I just seem to prefer the Fujis, and there it is. So thanks so much for watching. Like, subscribe, hit the bell for notifications. And take a look at my Patreon page. We'll see you out there. Have a great one. Bye.